Number one, don't overshare sa internet, sa social media.
Is one, awareness, and two, if you see something, say something.
Yeah. All people to be vigilant. So maganda ma-encourage natin yung public na to take action.
I think doon pumapasok yung importance of really educating communities.
Kaya po kailangan nating magmatsyag, kailangan nating makialam. Hindi natin papayagan na tayo ay manatiling number one sa krimen na ito.
Mga kababayan, alamin, makialam sa isyong ito at gampanan ang ating tungkulin na tumulong para ito ay masugpo natin.
Nevertheless, hindi lang whole of government of approach ang kailangan natin. Kailangan natin whole of nation approach.
Malaking bagay po na tayo ay maging vigilant.
Importante na ma-promote natin sa ating mga kabataan, especially nowadays, yung konsepto ng media and information literacy.
And so I believe that we need to empower parents.
Pero, yung nanakit o yung bully, kailangan din siyang alagaan.
Cyberbullying is not purely external. It's essentially, most importantly, internal.
Yung faith, yung churches, communities, they can also be parang doors for change, for conversion.
Lahat tayo may nakaraan. All you have to do is to use that a lesson in life.
Gaming, I actually think it's fun if you can control it.
And so we should try to really eliminate the culture of violence in all spheres of children's lives.
Be careful with what they share online.
Minimize risk and maximize digital opportunities to create better connections, literally personal connections with our children.
And we need to really put back the Filipino values that we have.
Ang unang-una, dapat you understand what you are fighting for. Sa lahat ng pagbabago, there are two things necessary. Change of consciousness and change of structure. If fear is infectious, so is courage.
Isang malaya at ligtas na araw, mga kababayan. Welcome to CyberChat and be a Cyber Guardian. Today is a very special day for all of us here in CyberChat as we celebrate this theme, #WeActAsOne, in co-creating a safer cyberspace sa pagtatapos po ng Season 1 ng CyberChat. At ngayong araw na ito ay sasamahan ako ng dalawang co-hosts who previously guested here. Dr. Teresa Paula de Luna, or Doc TV, an associate professor from the University of the Philippines, Diliman, and a member of the Advisory Council of the PNP Women and Children Protection Center, and Mr. Edward Chongco from ECPAT Philippines and formerly the national chairperson of the Philippines Against Children Trafficking or PACT.
A very pleasant day po sa lahat ng tumatangkilik ng CyberChat. Attorney Kath, maraming salamat sa pag-imbita sa akin ngayon to join you today in this episode of CyberChat.
Isang magandang araw po sa lahat. Ako po ay natutuwa at muli ko kayong makakasama sa araw na ito. Lalo pa at napakaganda ng ating paksa, #WeActAsOne in co-creating a safer cyberspace.
Yes, sir. We act as one in solidarity with the government, non-government organizations, law enforcement agencies, private associations, business entities, the civil society, families, schools, and of course, the church.
Sama-sama tayo, kapit-bisi, a whole-of-nation approach in creating a safer cyberspace for our children and the youth. At ang napakahalagang sangkap para tayo magtagumpay.
May pagkakaisa. In unity, we combat online sexual exploitation of children and all forms of internet-related abuse, threats, and crimes against children and the youth. Kasama na ang cyberbullying.
Doc PP, I remember during your guesting, we talked about the social media phenomenon and how this has affected society, lalong-lalo na ang ating mga kabataan. At ganun din na nag-guest ka sa episode 12, Sir Edward, na bigyan ng focus ang kahalagahan ng ugnayan ng national government agencies at local development councils sa pagpapalaganap ng mga child prevention and protection programs against OSEC and other forms of cyber threats at ng napakahalagang papel ng simbahan sa usapin ito.
Well, as you see, Atty. Kat, kung pagsasama-samahin po ang collaboration ng national government to local government units, kasama ng mga NGOs, private sector, at ang simbahan, isabay na din natin ang mga faith-based organizations. Nakatitiyak ako na mararating natin ang tagumpay sa kampanya sa prevention sa usapin ng OSAE. I come to realize na ang synchronized linkage ng public-private partnership kasama ng mga FBOs at simbahan sa larangan ng mahusay at gender-sensitive planning and budgeting ang magiging susi sa programa on prevention at healing and recovery ng mga biktima ng OSAE at iba't ibang forma ng sexual abuse and exploitation of children. Kailangan mangyari ito sapagkat hindi maaaring magkanya-kanya ng mundo na ginagalawan ang mga bawat duty bearers na nagsasagip sa vulnerability ng mga bata at kabataang Pilipino.
Guesting in CyberChat episode 11 was a great opportunity for me as an academic and an advocate against online sexual abuse and exploitation of children to impart some of what I know about the cultural perspective of online spaces in the virtual world. How this medium has become both a channel and a venue for criminals in carrying out their evil deeds. Indeed, cyberspace has become part of our everyday. Therefore, it is not enough to just be aware of it and circulate in it. It is imperative and absolutely necessary to embody the online way of life and embed ourselves in the various cultures in these spaces. If we do this, and we can do this, we can become weaponized guardians fighting against OSAIC.
Thank you for those insightful comments and observations, Doc PP and Sir Edward.
Well, I'm very excited, Attorney Kath, because later on we will be conversing with a very special guest who will enlighten us on government initiatives and concerted efforts in fighting online sexual abuse and exploitation of children, or OSAIC.
Same here, dahil mamaya naman po ay akin namang makakapanayam ang mga representatives from the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, Cluster Against Human Trafficking, o ang CCAT. At mamaya po, ang kinatawan ng pamahalaan at simbahan ay sasamahan din tayo. Maganda ito!
Kulang pa, Sir Edward. Meron pa tayong makakasama. We have a message from the representative of one of our law enforcement agencies in the PNP's Women and Children Protection Center, and a very special message from another government official whose servant leadership and genuine intention to serve has created great results in our fight against COVID. Mamaya, hintayin po natin ang kanyang mensahe.
Magbabalik po ang CyberChat.
Very important po sa lahat ang role ng local legislation in terms of the implementation of the national laws.
And so mahalaga na talagang involve ang lahat from the provincial government to the city or municipality up to the barangay para talaga pong ma-realize yung intention of those national laws of protecting our children in the communities.
Dahil nga sa sila ay organized, malaki ang maibabahagi din nila sa moral development po ng kanilang mga komunidad na kinabibilangan. At makatutulong din po ito sa healing and recovery ng mga child victims of abuse and exploitation.
Nakikita namin that there is still a need to strengthen the local councils, so particularly the local council on the protection of children and the local committee on anti-trafficking.
Kami po ay nakikiusap sa lahat. Tayo po ay maging mapagmatsyag. Tayo po ay makialam. Tayo po ay magkaroon ng malasakit sa ating bayan, sa ating mamamayan, at higit sa lahat sa mga kabataan.
The highlights of episode 12 were shown during the gap. Doc TP, napanood mo na ba ang episode 12?
Yes, Attorney Kath, I watched episode 12 in full.
Their recommendations were drawn from their own personal encounters of the setbacks, roadblocks, challenges while performing their basic function.
And it was also interesting about episode 12 that its stakeholders from different sectors are involved in the whole process. These were all well represented during the discussion. And the reason why the discussion was not only informative, it was also provided an in-depth analysis of the problem and the root causes of the issues from a practical point of view. Kumbaga, holistically, no?
Napakaganda ng observation mo, Doc TP. Gusto ko yung salitang holistic, yung patingin sa kabuuan and underscoring how the parts of the whole are interrelated. Kaya nga, ang mga recommendations na napag-usapan ay dapat ding bigyan ng second look at mas masusi pang tingnan bilang isang buong sistema.
And from an anthropological point of view, ang behavior ng mga taong gumagalaw sa loob ng sistema, ito ay affected by the structure. Kumbaga interconnected sila. Dahil may isang sistema, no? Ito yung system na sa aking palagay ay dapat mabigyan ng focus in coming up with responsive recommendations.
Kaya sa season ender ng CyberChat, we invited back IACAT or the Interagency Council Against Trafficking because this is the central coordinating and monitoring body responsible for all anti-human trafficking efforts of the government. Representing IACAT today is Undersecretary Emeline Aglipay-Villar, a recognized champion in the fight against OSEC. A very pleasant day, USEC. Marami pong salamat for joining us today.
Good day, Attorney Kat and Doc TP, and to all our viewers. A pleasant day to you all.
Based on the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, or NCMEC Cyber Tipline Report, comparing March 1 to May 24 last year versus this year, tumaas ng 165% ang incidence ng suspected OSEC cases. From 76,561 last year to 202,605 this year, only for the period of March 1 to May 24 yan, ha?
USEC M, would you like to share with us, with our viewers, how the government through IACAT has been responding to this staggering situation?
As you've mentioned a while ago, the reports of the increase in number of the online sexual exploitation and abuse material in the internet, which translates, of course, to making the children more vulnerable at this time of the pandemic. But the government, as I mentioned, is intensifying also its efforts, not only on the national level, but down to our local counterparts in the local government units. We've started engaging more with the LGUs through the DILG, through strengthening and ensuring that local mechanisms are in place. And these are the local committees against trafficking and violence against women and children. Coupled with local legislation, as we have been going around the barangays even before the pandemic, to ensure that they also pass their own ordinances and resolutions implementing RA 9208 or the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act within their respective barangays, municipalities, and provinces. This is to ensure the sustainability of the enforcement of RA 9208. Last year, in the Manila International Dialogue, there was also a deliberate effort on our part to showcase the LGUs who are implementing best practices to combat trafficking in persons and also OSEC in their respective jurisdictions. This is a testament to our ongoing efforts to engage a whole-of-a-nation approach to combat trafficking. Because of these staggering numbers, as you've mentioned, throughout the whole pandemic, we have also been working closely with the DSWD, with the LGUs, with the PNP, WCPC, and through the PICAC, or the Philippine Internet Crimes Against Children Center. This close relationship with these national agencies and also the LGUs make it more efficient and effective in terms of responding to cases of online sexual abuse and exploitation of children.
Thank you very much, Yusek M. And that's good to know, no? Na marami talagang ginagawang efforts ang lahat ng mga ahensya. Ito yung sinasabi natin na pagtutulungan, no? Interrelated ang ating mga ahensya, ang ating mga institusyon para sa pagsugpo ng online sexual exploitation.
We show the highlights of episode 12, Yusek. May we know your insights? What is your reaction on the guest's observation and recommendation?
Very valuable insights and comments were raised during the episode 12. And we appreciate all these comments that, of course, would help IACAT move forward and having a stronger punch against online sexual abuse and exploitation of children. I think that the implementation and cascading of the IACAT National Action Plan down to the provincial, city, municipal, and barangay levels is really something that the IACAT has been doing and has been more focused on, especially in the last year and this year, when it has been put to test, considering that we are facing a pandemic. So the communication and direct coordination of the national plan to the LGU level down to the barangay has been crucial in terms of addressing this problem, especially during the pandemic, when it's the barangay level that's really able to monitor more closely the community at this time. Synchronization of the national and local budget planning is also a good point that I guess we have to work more on. But more importantly, what I think we could improve on is capacitating and educating the parents, which we already started on, but which I think we can work more closely with the Department of Education in doing this, and the LGUs as well, because they have contact with the parents on the ground.
Yusek, another recommendation exhaustively discussed is about the critical role of faith-based organizations and church leaders in combating not only OSEC, but other forms of cybercrimes or cyber threats.
We see the church and its leaders and other faith-based organizations as playing a big role in the anti-OSEC response and campaign for safer cyberspace by engaging their members to become more aware and vigilant on the issues involved. We see them as significant players and partners in our campaign for a safer cyberspace, because we think that the church and faith-based organizations have a strong influence on their members, including the youth. And aside from prayer and the support, faith-based support that they give, I think that they also have a social community function. And I think that because of this, they have a role in reshaping the moral fiber and the values of the people as well, that would have a big impact on our fight against online sexual abuse and exploitation of children.
Paano kaya natin magagawang sustainable yung istruktura na maaari nating ipatupad o gawin so that this will be continued on by the church together, of course, with IACAT and other partner agencies.
To be able to make it sustainable and to move forward, the community must play their part in implementing these activities and being actively involved. And I see that right now happening because of this program that the private individuals, private organizations, that the church is actively taking part in really combating OSEC, and it gives me so much hope of how our fight against OSEC will really triumph in the end when we work together.
In your opinion, what other programs need to be implemented, or what activation strategies do you think should be out there in order to strengthen or fortify your campaign against OSEC and other forms of cyber threats against children?
Moving forward, one of the things is that I think is lacking is educating our youth, and also the parents. So maybe we can do this through an institutionalized program through the Department of Education. Doesn't have to be an actual subject, but it could be integrated in the current curriculum already, not only against OSEC, but also against cyberbullying and other issues surrounding the use of the internet by children. Another thing that we can also push for is a greater coordination between the church and the government, and of course the private sector, civil society, in working together to combat OSEC. So maybe through the local government councils, where issues of online sexual abuse and exploitation and other forms of child trafficking and exploitation are being discussed, maybe the government can also involve faith-based organizations in the fight against online sexual abuse and exploitation.
Cyber Guardians PH po ay nakahandang tumulong sa inyo, USEC, at sa IACAT for a safer cyberspace.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate all the efforts of Cyber Guardians and of the NGOs who are actively involved in the fight against OSEC. And I hope that moving forward, when we work closely together and when all the stakeholders are involved, definitely we'll be able to have a stronger fight against OSEC until finally we are able to finally eliminate it.
Thank you very much, USEC. We will continue with our very interesting conversation when we come back.
Kanina po ay nakasama natin si Undersecretary Emeline Aglipay-Villar ng Department of Justice bilang chair na kumakatawan sa Interagency Council Against Trafficking or IACAT.
Napakaganda ng kanyang mga naging pahayag ukol sa kasalukuyang programa ng IACAT at reaksyon sa mga mungkahi na ating nilahad sa episode 12 ng CyberChat.
So, tawagin na natin, Sir Edward, ang ating mga susunod na guests.
We are pleased to have with us today the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, Cluster Against Human Trafficking or CCAT. Kasama po natin ang Executive Secretary of CBCP's Episcopal Commission for the Pastoral Care Migrants and Itinerant People or ECMI. Mga kaibigan, siya po ang lead convener ng CCAT. Wala pong iba si Reverend Father Restituto Ogsimer. Magandang araw po sa inyo, Father.
Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat at sa lahat po ng mga taga-subaybay ng TV Maria. Kasama ko po ang ibang miyembro ng CBCP Cluster Against Human Trafficking. So inaanyayahan ko ang aking mga kasama today na ipakilala ang kanilang mga sarili.
Magandang araw po sa ating lahat. Ako po si Bispo Marada at ako po ay Project Development Coordinator ng Episcopal Commission for the Pastoral Care of Migrants and Itinerant People.
Magandang araw sa ating lahat. Ako po si Edil Guyano, ang in charge ng Peace Building, Human Rights, and Good Governance Program ng National Secretariat for Social Action under the Episcopal Commission on Social Action, Justice, and Peace.
Mari po ba nating maipaliwanag ang pagbuo ng simbahan ng sikat at ano po ba ang basic role of each commission cluster?
Ang CBCP Cluster Against Human Trafficking ay binuo po ito noong year 2016 sa pamamagitan ng isang circular na ipinalabas ng CBCP. Binubuo ito ng aming commission, yung migrants, ang youth, ang NASA, Social Action, Justice and Peace, at saka yung Office on Women. Lahat po ng 4 na commissions, kami po ang humahawak sa CBCP on any matter related to human trafficking.
Kanina po ay muli nating nabanggit ang staggering increase sa paglaganap po ng suspected case of online sexual abuse and exploitation of children. Ang mga predators at cybercriminals ay talaga namang nakaabang sa iba't ibang social media platform and online spaces. Ito na ngayon ang ginagamit na daan para sa human trafficking. Paano po ang sikat o ang simbahan na naghahanda upang makaagapay po sa bagong larangang ito?
Bahagi po siguro ng layunin nitong sikat na binuo ng CBCP ay mapalakas niya talaga yung tugon ng simbahan. But right now, as we are talking about OSAEC, mahalaga po na bahagi yan ng aming nais tutukan dito sa pagbubuo namin ng cluster at pagbababa nito sa mga diocese.
Ating ginagampanan ngayon kung paano natin matugunan ang ganitong sitwasyon, lalo na sa panahon ngayon sa pandemic. Kaya ang simbahan patuloy natin, lalo na yung ating mga information disseminations and also trying to capacitate ourselves and the social action centers and other commissions, lalo na itong ginagawa ng sikat ngayon, upang ating matugunan ang ganitong sitwasyon.
Nais ko pong bigyang diin na noong 2018, nagkaroon po ng paglabas o naglabas po ang simbahan ng pastoral guidelines against human trafficking. Isa po sa binigyang diin ng guidelines na yon ay yung partnership. Dahil nakita po ng simbahan na maliban po doon sa pagsasama-samang kilos mismo ng iba-ibang commissions and ministries ng church, nakita niya rin po ang kahalagahan na ang simbahan ay may dapat na maigting ng pakikipag-ugnayan sa iba pang mga sektor sa lipunan.
Ang layunin ng sikat is basically to establish structures in the diocesan level at bababa ito hopefully sa parish, no? So yan po ang isang pinaka-importanting advocacy na ginagawa namin, na magkaroon ng awareness sa lahat ng sulok ng Pilipinas, no? Na ito pong issue ng human trafficking ay minsan mas talamak siya sa mga kasuluk-sulukan ng kabundukan, no?
Sa mga nabanggit niyo po, Father, merong mga trainings. So, paano naman po ba yung proseso upang mapalaganap po ang mga ito sa mga diocese at parishes?
Yung proseso po na ginagawa namin, katulad ng nabanggit kanina ni Father, kasi ang isa talaga sa gap ng issue na to ng human trafficking ay yung pagkilala mismo sa issue. Hindi siya nami-mainstream. So nakita na dahil nga organized ang simbahan, ang pagtagos ng information ay mas mabilis. Pero para tumagos, sabi nga natin, dapat may struktura. Kaya ito po yung pagbubuo ng struktura sa mga dioceses. Paano ang training? Sa karanasan po namin ngayon, mula po noong nagsimula kami noong 2017, para po maabot namin yung aming mga key leaders, yung mga directors ng aming mga ministry, bumuo po kami ng mga sub-regional consultations. Ang kasunod na po kasi nitong sub-regional consultation ay yung pagbibigay na ng diin sa mga dioceses kung alin sa mga dioceses na to ang talagang nangangailangan ng suporta at na kung saan nandoon yung mataas na ganap or yung prevalence ng human trafficking.
Sa pangkaraniwang perspective po ng isang tao, parating nakatuon po ang dahilan ng OSAEC sa kahirapan. Ngunit sa perspective po ng ating simbahan, mayroon po bang ibang dahilan ang pagiging biktima ng OSAEC?
Sa aming karanasan sa pag-iikot, they come from poorer income families. No? Ang karumal-dumal na kaalaman natin is minsan magulang ang nag-uudyok o kaya ang mga instrumento kung bakit nangyayari ang mga online abuses na ito. No?
At gusto nating din tingnan yung greed ng mga tao. I think kung walang, kahit na siguro mahirap ang sitwasyon, kung walang mga magpasamantala na mga tao, hindi laganap ang mga problema ito. Of course, kakibat dito yung good governance, ang pamamahala ng maayos. Yung ating advokasya ay hindi lang para sa mga biktima, kundi ganun din sa mga taong mapansamantala. And we continue to advocate for change ng ating lato ng mentality, kasi habang kahit na yung ating ma-educate natin itong mga tao at tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung mapagsamantala na hindi magbabago, talagang continue pa rin itong problema na ito. So it's a holistic approach in solving this problem. At ito yung gusto nating tingnan. Ang simbahan naman, ganun ang pagtingin niya na hindi lang ito is a matter of economic but also moral. Kailangan yung moral ng mga tao upang magampanan nila ang kanilang responsibilidad sa kanilang pamilya, sa community at sa ating bansa.
Actually, bukod sa usaping OSAEC, isa pang seryosong topic na aming tinalakay sa mga nakalipas po na episodes ng CyberChat ay ang cyberbullying. Ito po ba ay maaaring bigyan pansin din po ng ating simbahan?
Ang simbahan ay nakikita niya rin po na isang issue yan na hinaharap ng ating mga kabataan. Mahalaga po na ang tinututukan natin ngayon, lalo na din sa simbahan, yung mga values formation natin sa ating mga parents na talagang magabayan yung ating mga anak sa kanilang pagbubukas ng iba't ibang website at paggamit ng mga computers.
Tama pong lahat. Sa panahon po ngayon na ang paggamit po ng internet, lalo na po sa mundo ng social media, ay talagang lantad na lantad, bukas na bukas. Ang tanong po, alam ba nila kung paano sila magiging ligtas dito? Kaya marami din pong mga naging kaso na kung saan ay napahamak po sa maling paggamit ng social media. Ang isa pang naging mahalagang obserbasyon na naibahagi namin noong nagdaang episodes ay ang kakulangan sa synchronization at cascading ng national policies pababa sa local councils at mga communities. Ang aking pong tanong, kung paano po kaya ang simbahan at mga faith-based organizations na maaaring makilahok to reach out the communities. Ito pong pakikipag-ugnayan sa mga local councils ng pamahalaan para po magkaroon ng collaboration sa pagpapatupad ng mga local child protection programs. Maaari po ba itong gawin sa hanay ng mga parishes natin?
Sa amin po sa Migrants Commission, mayroon na po kaming mga examples ng ganyang ugnayan. No? We call that interagency network. No? So, ang local government units at saka yung aming commission doon sa ibaba nagpa-partner para supuin ang mga issues and concerns about migration and human mobility. No?
Sa bahagi po ng Bicol Region, ang mga nandoon, yung aming mga key leaders sa diocese, sa iba-ibang ministry, may mga representation ng mga police at saka DSWD. And nung eventually, nung nagdi-discuss na kami, nalaman namin na ganun kaigting yung kanilang ugnayan doon sa diocese, lalong-lalo na ang kanilang pinag-uusapan nga doon ay yung violence against women and children. Pero doon sa pagbibigay namin ng seminar na yon on human trafficking, sabi nila, isang magandang platform yung kanilang nabuong network na yon para doon din nila maipasok yung advocacy campaign para dito sa human trafficking, and syempre kasama din yung usahe.
Pag nagplano ang ating pamahalaan from national government hanggang sa local government unit, lalo na po sa LGU, na pag sinabi nating LGU, kabilang po ang barangay. Dapat po pala pagka nagplano sila, mas lalong dapat mayroong tamang representasyon po ang pamunuan ng simbahan sa planning and budgeting na ito ng ating gobyerno, sapagkat dito po ma-exercise at may enhance yung pong maaring programa ng gobyerno, national hanggang lokal hanggang barangay, at yung programa ng ating mga simbahan, ng ating mga parokya, upang ito'y sabihin natin, i-connect po natin ang mga programa pong ito nang sa ganun mas lalong maging sustainable at effective and efficient ang deliverables po natin sa community.
Mayroong ugnayan ang simbahan at ang barangay, yung tinatawag nating UBAS. Yung ugnayan ng mga barangay at simbahan. At yung niche namin ay yung ating spiritual at yung value formation. Kung may pagbabago doon sa barangay at maibsan yung o matugunan yung mga pangailangan sa barangay, yung mga problema ng ating mga sa barangay, ay may ripple effects doon sa ibang mga communities and mga municipalities and provinces. At ito yung talagang kaigtingin baba. Siguro ito yung gusto nating i-strengthen. Kailangan talaga natin ang karoon ng tunay na ugnayan para sa ikabubuhay ng ating mga mamayan.
So nakikita ko, at ito rin po yung direksyon na gustong tunguhin ng SICAT. Sa pagbubuo niya po ng mga diocesan cluster or the committee within the diocese at bababayan sa mga parokya, ang nais po natin ay talagang mas holistic yung maging partnership. Yung LGU, yung mga existing na non-government organizations within the community, at ganoon din po yung mga iba pang faith-based organizations.
Okay po, maraming salamat. Para po sa ating final message naman sa ating mga panauhin.
Sabi nga, ang human trafficking ay syndicated crime, no? Kasama diyan yung forma nitong usahe. At nangangailangan din yan ng isang malakas na pagsasama-sama natin para labanan itong syndicated crime na ito. And sinabi nga po doon sa pastoral guidelines na in-issue ng Vatican na kailangang palakasin ang partnership. Hindi lamang po sa loob ng simbahan, yung mga within the local dioceses, at sa loob ng diocese within the ministries, pero within other faith groups, no? Ito po ay ang pagnanais na ang iba't ibang simbahan ay magsama-sama laban dito sa OSAEC, no? Kaya panawagan, magsama-sama po tayo at lagi tayong maging bukas na sa pagsasama-sama, naroroon ang higit na magandang kinabukasan ng ating mga kabataan.
Inahikayat ko rin yung ating mga dioceses, mga parishes, and mga basic ecclesial communities na to accept the challenge. At alam natin na ang trabahong ito, kahit na ano ang gagawin ng simbahan at ng gobyerno, walang pangyayari kung walang pakikiisa, partisipasyon ng mga mamamayan. Upang matugunan talaga ang mga ganitong mga problema, ng mga issues para sa kapakanan ng ating mga mamamayan. At maraming salamat po.
Sir Edward, on behalf of the members of the cluster ng CBCP against human trafficking, ang aming pasasalamat sa araw na ito sa Cyber Guardians Philippines. Ang Katolikong Simbahan, napakahalaga lalo na kay Pope Francis ang issue na ito. Lagi niya itong minamention. And masaya kami kasi mayroon na naman kaming karagdagang network na nakilala itong sa inyo. At I think mas magiging makulay ang ating laban. Ang Simbahang Katoliko po ay patuloy niyang gagawing isang pangunahing advokasya ang labanan, sugpuin at maging kabahagi ng solusyon kung paano natin ito masusugpo sa lipunan. Maraming salamat po.
Talaga nga namang akmang-akma ang ating tema na #WeActAsOne in co-creating a safer cyberspace. Ang mga napag-usapan po natin ay very comprehensive, lalo na po sa larangan at ng ating pamunuan, ng ating simbahan. So marami pong salamat, Father Resty, at mga representatives po ng CBCP Cluster Against Human Trafficking. Aasahan po namin ito ang simula ng tuloy-tuloy na pakikipag-ugnayan ng Cyber Guardians PH at ng iba't ibang organizations na bumubuo nito sa sikat. Huwag po kayong aalis, kami po ay magbabalik.
The pandemic may have hit all of us Filipinos as a battle of resiliency, but unknown to many is the battle that grows from within the home. That is the online sexual abuse and exploitation of children. It has long been in existence, destroying children's lives, shattering hopes and dreams. Now more than ever, we are relentless in conducting entrapment and rescue operations to ensure that no child suffer from online sexual abuse and those perpetrating on children's vulnerability be brought to justice. Amidst the pandemic, the Philippine National Police, through the Women and Children Protection Center, has stepped up to innovate and digitalize all its existing efforts to combat mosaic and internet-related crimes affecting the youth. As we sustain our collaborative efforts with our NGO, government, and foreign law enforcement agency partners, we educate and encourage communities to stand up and take responsibility for children's safety online. In times when people can go to us, we go to them. We go everywhere, online and offline, to remind perpetrators of our presence and the power of the law. We vow to protect our children.
Tayo ay nagpapasalamat din sa mensahe ng ating PNP Women and Children Protection Center, Chief Police Colonel Sheila Portento. Maraming salamat sa napakagandang pakikipag-ugnayan natin sa grupo ni Colonel Sheila.
At this point, let us hear a special message from one lady who has proven time and again that there is nothing impossible sa sama-samang pagtutulungan. Her Excellency, Madam Vice President Leni Robredo.
Magandang araw sa mga bumubuo ng Cyber Guardians PH at sa lahat ng nanonood ngayon ng CyberChat Talk Show. Maraming salamat sa pag-organize ng series na ito dahil talagang napapanahon ang issue ng online sexual abuse and exploitation of children. Reports show na talagang lumala ang problemang ito ngayong pandemya. Sabi nga ng iba, secret pandemic na ito na hinaharap natin kasabay ng COVID. Importanteng ipagpatuloy ang mga ganitong usapan at bantayang maigi ang issue, lalo na dahil kaligtasan ng mga anak natin ang nakataya dito. Malaki ang hamong hinaharap natin dito. Mahirap ang detection dahil kadalasan sa loob ng bahay ito nangyayari. Dahil din sa pandemic, nahihirapang magbantay ang mga paaralan, kaibigan, kapitbahay o kapamilya na ilan sana sa unang makakatunog kung may pang-aabusong nangyayari. Malaki ang hamon. Pero gaya ng lagi kong sinasabi, palaging mas malaki ang pagkakataon. Pagkakataong makatulong at makiambag. Katulad ng approach natin sa COVID-19, multisectoral dapat ang tugon natin pagdating sa OSAE. Walang maliit na ambag, lahat mahalaga. Huwag nating isipin na problema lang ito ng may social media company o mga expert sa teknolohiya. Ang sagot sa suliraning ito, hindi iisa, kundi bawat isa. Sa parte ng gobyerno, kailangan ng mas malinaw na policies at rules, lalo na ukol sa mga obligasyon ng social media networks. Dapat ding may stronger push to disseminate reporting and referral lines. At habang sinisiguro nating nasasalo ng shelters ang mga batang nare-rescue, kailangan mas pagtuunan natin ng pansin ang prevention. Malaki ang papel ng tech companies at experts. Malaking tulong ang pag-develop at pag-roll out ng mga bagong paraan para ma-detect ang OSAE sa mga live stream. Malaki din ang maiaambag nila sa usapin kung paano panatilihing ligtas ang online spaces para sa mga bata. At importanteng katuwang sila ng NGOs at ng mga institusyon tulad ng simbahan at mga paaralan sa pagbuo ng mga konkretong hakbang para sa early detection, protection at prevention. Bawat isang internet user may responsibilidad din na agad mag-report ng OSAE, na bantayan ang isa't isa online, na idiin ang agarang aksyon at accountability mula sa online platforms na ginagamit natin, na ibalik ang respeto at dignidad sa online spaces natin. Sa Cyber Guardians PH, tuloy lang ang laban para sa mas ligtas na mundo. Kasama ninyo ako at ang buong team namin sa OVP, along with so many others who believe in a safe and humane society. Malalim ang hinaharap natin ngayon. Doble kayod ang kailangan para mapagtagumpayan natin ito. Pero dahil sa mga advocates gaya ninyo, tiwala ako. Kaya nating pagtagumpayan, COVID man o OSAE. Kaya nating bumuo ng mundong mas ligtas at mas makatao. Maraming salamat at mabuhay kayong lahat.
Maraming salamat po, Madam VP Lenny, sa napakaganda niyong mensahe para sa Cyber Guardians. Sa people's participation, it is an exercise of transparency and accountability. At matitiyak na matutukoy ang target beneficiary na makikinabang sa programang binubuwisan po ng ating mamamayan. At kabilang na dito ang mga programang pang-survival, development, participation, at protection. Nakakatuwang isipin na ang narating ng programang CyberChat ay isang start-up para himukin ang ating pamahalang nasyonal, mga lokal, at ang mga multi-sectoral communities bilang aggregate sa lahat ng development programs. At siyempre, yung intervention. Kaya marapat na maipagpatuloy ang adhikain ng programang CyberChat upang marating natin ang tagumpay ng ating mga layunin na protektahan, galangin, at tugdin ang karapatan ng mga bata at kabataan sa isang ligtas na lipunan laban sa pang-aabuso at eksploitasyon.
This season, CyberChat opened the gates into viewing the different angles of online sexual abuse and exploitation of children, or OSAIC. This is vital and essential in making us understand how horrible this situation is. How institutions and organizations function and work together in preventing this from happening and completely eradicating it. Most importantly, we get to ask ourselves, what can we do to contribute to this fight? Upon watching all the episodes this season, I came to realize that this can be done. This is not an impossible task. We can fight OSAIC, and we can make all those responsible for it pay for their crimes. We cannot put our guards down. We must continue guarding our children as long as there are children to protect. Organizations such as Cyber Guardians must continue to exist.
This has been quite a journey for all of us. We have a long list of people na kailangan pong pasalamatan for making CyberChat possible. Father Anton Pascual, Father Roy Belen, and Miss Sharon Isla of TV Maria who have always been so understanding and accommodating of our requests. Communications Foundation for Asia and Pacific Online Systems Corporation, our principal sponsor. Sa lahat po ng mga organizations na kabahagi ng Cyber Guardians PH, maraming salamat po. Our very special thanks to DICT Cybersecurity Bureau former Assistant Secretary Alan Cabanlong, the Department of Justice, the PNP Women and Children's Protection Center, Sister Mary John Mananzan, and all our guests that would be too many to mention who have provided us invaluable insights and inspiration. Sa lahat po ng naging co-hosts ng CyberChat, maraming salamat po. At sa inyo pong aming mga tagapagtangkilik, hanggang sa muli, at mula sa kaibuturan ng aming puso, maraming salamat. Be a Cyber Guardian.
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 Be
Cyber Guardian. Be a Cyber Guardian.
Be a Cyber Guardian.
Be a Cyber Guardian.
Be
a Cyber Guardian.
Be a Cyber Guardian.